Hey guys, Shani back with another process video for my December scrap party series where I'm bringing you a video every day for the whole month of December. In today's video, and it will actually be my last process video for this series, tomorrow's video will be a little flip through of all the, like a layout share of all the layouts I've made for the whole thing. But today's layout, I am taking this pale pink from Felicity Jane, one of their kits. It's just the plain pink cardstock, and I have trimmed off essentially the branding strip off the bottom, and then I've taken the largest hole punch that I have. I think it's an inch and 3/4 maybe. And then I've punched a couple holes down the side. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mimic the circles on the card, and then you'll see throughout how I do that. But it's also got these little the little diamond-y shaped starbursts, and then we'll mimic that as well. So right now what I've done is I've just backed the photo with some coral tiny polka dotted cardstock or pattern paper, and then just with a tiny skinny like 1/8 inch border all the way around, and then I've added some foam tape behind there. Now I'm taking one of these punched circles that I've already punched, and then I'm gonna use that as a template to draw some more circles that I'll use an X-Acto knife to cut out with. But my punch obviously doesn't reach all the way to the middle, so I'm just using that as a template for this part. And then I'm just moving it around and trying to decide exactly where I want these circles. And I want them heavier on the left and then lighter on the right, or as you move towards the right. And then I'll just go back and use my X-Acto knife to cut these out. And these are going to be shaker pockets. That's why we're doing this, just FYI. And I'm going to show you a handy trick on how to do a shaker pocket on an outside edge. So I'm just going to quickly cut these out with an X-Acto knife. And then I will also cut it short just because this is boring. So here we go. Here's them all cut out. So then I'm taking my eraser and just erasing around the edge to get rid of that pencil line that's still showing from where I cut it out before. And then we're gonna lay the photo on top just to make sure again that it is everything's lining up how I want it and everything. And then I'm using this stencil. It's actually a wearable stencil from Hobby Lobby. I got it on clearance at one point. And then I'm using the Doodlebug Sugar is the color. It's just clear with glitter in it. Little texture paste. And this brush thing that I'm using it's a rubber-ended brush. It's from Hobby Lobby as well in their wearables department. I got that on clearance as well when I got this stencil. So I'm not really sure if they still carry it or not, but it's been pretty awesome. It's really easy to control the glitter paste with, which is nice. And then I fast forwarded because it went on for a while. So, but you can see the little starbursts all around my page, around where the photo would be and everything. And then I'm taking some more of that coral pattern paper, and I'm roughly cutting circles about 1/4 to 1/2 inch larger than the circles I cut out, and just setting those aside. So I pulled out a piece of transparency paper and cut it to a square about double the size of the space of this hole, the circle. And this is going to be the one on the edge right there. I'm going to show you how to fill that. So basically what you do is you cut your transparency a little bit larger than you need it, and then you fold it in half first of all. And then I've taken my the backing paper that I'm going to use, I've adhered it to the back side of, like inside the folded transparency, but to the back side, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to add adhesive around the circle, and then with the clear side up, or down, I guess, with the clear side down, I'm going to adhere that to that hole right there, so that when you turn it over, there's transparency with the pattern paper behind. And then what we're going to do is take this foam tape and just go all the way around like you would any shaker pocket section. But when you do it on this, okay, because you always have to remember to keep your foam squares touching so that sequins and stuff don't leak out. So the same goes for this, but except you want to make sure it butts up against the crease of the transparency as well, because you don't want it to slip out the sides there. And then instead of finishing that pocket, I've gone through and added transparency behind all my other little circles that are going to be shaker pockets as well, because I get distracted easily and can't finish just one thing. So there we go. They're all backed, except this one is going to be like this previous one that I just did. The transparency that I folded in half, and I went ahead and adhered it to that side. And then I'm going to take the pattern paper, add adhesive to the back, and then insert it in there so that it's on that back side of the transparency, the folded transparency. So same thing as before. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish this one so you can see one of them finished. And then I'll just add some sequins, some sequins in there. And then peel off the adhesive on the foam squares, and then fold that back down and smash it so that it's all sealed inside there. And then I will go ahead and trim the edges because it's overlaps quite a bit. And then I'll turn it over and you can see there's that shaker pocket. And I did use that tiny circle punch to, I think it's a 1/2 inch, I'm not sure exactly, to punch some little pale pink circles from those extra circles that we cut out, to use as some of the confetti as well. So now I pulled out the Distressed Oxide. I think this is something rose is the color. Sorry, I'm not really sure exactly. And then I've got this Princess stamp set. It's an old one, and it's got little diamond-shaped stars like I did before, and I've gone all over the page and done some of those. And then I went back with a larger diamond-shaped star from Chamel's Head in the Clouds stamp set, and did that all around. I think that one especially added a lot to the page. You can see it really darker along there. And then I have a teeny tiny little, it looks like a sequin, just a little stamp, and I used this red Distress Oxide stamp pad to stamp these little teeny tiny red sequin looking pieces. So I'm going to bring in some just plain clear vellum and do some layers of vellum behind the photo just to bring some more texture and dimension back there, and just some more focus really, because at this point the background's much more of the focus, because it's, I mean, it's pretty awesome. It's kind of all over the place and a lot, but so we're just going to add this so that it brings some more focus to the photo. So I've got that settled, and then I didn't get it on there very straight, so I'm going in and trimming the edges so that they're straighter. So adding another layer, and I'll add, I think, 3 before I'm finished. And with this one, what I'm doing now is just adding adhesive to the strips of foam tape right there. And that's plenty, it holds pretty well. And then adding one last one. Again, adding adhesive to the strips of tape. And then after I add this last one, I'll add adhesive to those strips of tape so that it'll stick to the background as well. There we go. And then I'll finally just put that in place. And the thing with the vellum is nice is because even though it covers up some of those shaker boxes, you can totally still see the shaker box, but it still adds a little bit of extra behind there. So now I pulled out these red Sticko foam stickers, and then I'm just gonna add my title down here at the bottom. And then I use a ruler to kind of line it up. There you go, you can see. And then the Christmas is a chipboard word that I used that I used the Nuvo liquid adhesive to glue down. And I did overlap it just a little bit, but it sticks really well once you use the Nuvo adhesive, so I'm not really worried about it popping off. And then I'll add the last word at the bottom. And I start with the last letter of the word because I need it to nestle into, the D is the only ascender. Sorry, I can't remember anyways, so it goes up instead of, and none of the other letters do, so I just need to make sure it fits inside a little pocket right there. And then I'll move backwards. And then, yeah, there we go. And then after that, I just add some final little embellishments. Sorry, I didn't realize I left this whole part in. There we go. So after that, I add just a couple little more embellishments. This flare badge is from A Flare for Buttons. And then I pull out some rhinestones. And the rhinestone pack is from the bead section at Hobby Lobby. But it lasts forever. I've used a bunch of these and still am nowhere near close to them being gone. So I just added a couple little clusters on there, and then I'll go back and adhere them down with Nuvo adhesive, and then that's the rest of the layout, and it's done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit like if you like this video and leave a comment. I love seeing comments, and I always try to respond to all of them. And then come back tomorrow for my last episode of this series, and I'll just do a quick layout share of all the layouts from this series. And then starting Wednesday, I'll have new layouts that are not Christmas themed. So be sure to subscribe so you know when those come out as well. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. Happy scrapping. Bye.